Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 56. We have a lot to do tomorrow. Make it an early night, Johnny, Cole directed as they pulled through the gates. The long drive north had done nothing to dispel his concerns over the situation with the two women and the black-shirted soldiers he had seen. He knew he had seen that uniform somewhere before, but couldn't place it. Are you kidding? After navigating that crowd, I'm beat, Johnny stated, snapping Cole back to reality. We've got our work cut out for us, that's for sure, Cole replied. He parked the car, noticing Chappie and Monroe standing in front of the building. Their body postures looked like they were about to start throwing punches. Exhausted, Johnny didn't notice the men and quickly stated, "Good night, sir," as he exited the vehicle. "Good night, Johnny," Cole told him, curious about what was happening with Monroe and Chappie. As he approached, he could hear Chappie yelling, "I wonder if any of it ever meant anything to you." "The times they are a-changin', asshole. Just leave it alone," Monroe insisted. "No, not this time," Chappie retorted angrily. Marching forward, Cole demanded, "What in the hell is going on?" Monroe was startled by Cole's presence and stumbled over his words as he replied, Major Virgis, sir." "Go on, Monroe, tell him," Chappie suggested. "Gentlemen, to my office before you make an even larger scene out here," Cole directed, watching a crowd begin to gather. The two men answered affirmatively and walked with Cole into his office. "Sit down," Cole commanded. "Someone better start doing some explaining right now." Monroe spoke first, explaining, "Bennett found Erica near the Zion National Park, and she has been returned to Vegas." "That's a good place to start. What is going on with you two?" "Chappie thinks my life is open for debate," Monroe stated. Chappie rolled his eyes, pleading with Monroe. "Just tell him." "Let's have it out right now," Cole commanded, desperate to know what was plaguing his friend. "I'm sorry, sir. I can't do this right now. It's a private matter, and my mission is over. Can I be dismissed, sir?" "You're dismissed, but you know our relationship goes much deeper than rank. I'm asking you, please, tell me what is going on," Cole implored. "And I'm telling you, I can't." "You're free to go," Cole told him, disappointed. "Thank you, sir," Monroe said, standing from the chair and leaving out the door. Chappie got up to leave as well, but Cole stopped him. "You're not dismissed. Sit back down." Chappie acquiesced, trying not to make eye contact with Cole. "What's going on, Chappie?" Cole sat patiently waiting for a response. "You're not leaving until you tell me." "The man's lost it, sir," Chappie blurted out. "He's scared, he's going to get killed, and wants to be there for his kid. He'll get over it, right?" "I don't know, Major. He's been talking to Dolores about going to Canada." "What? If he leaves the Mercs, he'd be a runaway refugee. If he's caught, he'd be a slave forever. Who knows what would happen to his wife and kid? I've told him all that. He's the one always talking about how someone had to do something. I know. I told him all that too. But he's still deciding," Cole wondered. Chappie shrugged back at him. "What's Ginger have to say about all this?" "I don't know, sir. I don't get to see her much." Cole took a deep breath, pouring 2 drinks. "You know I can't let him go. The federal soldiers are already reporting that I'm too lenient to Colonel Henderson. They're just looking for an excuse to replace me." "I know," Chappie admitted. Cole shot the drink he had poured. "It puts me in a real pickle, doesn't it?" "That's why he doesn't want to talk to you yet. He wants to decide for himself," Chappie informed him. "We've always been there for each other, the 3 of us. Now he's going to leave?" Cole asked, his eyes betraying his feelings of abandonment. Chappie answered honestly. "He's definitely considering it." "Do you think we're doing the right thing, Chappie?" "I believe it with 100% of all my heart. Getting Cassidy and Erica out of that camp is what should be done. Every step closer we can get to restoring freedom is worth every bit of blood spilled to get there." "I agree." Cole poured himself another drink and gulped it down. Guess we'll take this a step at a time. But you know my hands are tied. I know, sir, Chappie agreed, standing from the chair. I'll see you in the morning, sir. Adding to the list of problems plaguing him, Cole sat long into the night, pondering the past before him. His bottle was half empty, and his legs swayed with drunkenness as he wobbled towards his bed and laid his head on his pillow. In the morning, Cole's first stop was at Dolores's place. He stood stoically in front of her as soft jazz music played in the background. You've been talking with Monroe a lot lately, he commented, probing for information. Since Monroe wouldn't tell him what was happening, Cole was determined to find out for himself. His wife is pregnant. There are a lot of plans to be made, Dolores commented, dismissing him. That's true, but it's more than that, Cole persisted. What do you want me to say, Major? You're looking for something, Dolores stated, recognizing his interrogation methods. I've always been honest with you. I've kept secrets for you. I protected this town from the feds for you. I want you to return the gesture, Cole demanded. We may have discussed more than just the pregnancy, Dolores admitted. Her eyes met Cole's steadily. Is he planning to leave? Cole wondered directly. Cole waited for Dolores to answer as the guitar solo danced through the air. You understand this is breaking my heart, right? Cole assured her. Then let him go, Dolores pleaded. You don't understand, Dolores. I can't. If one of my top men goes AWOL, I'll lose my position here. That puts you and every free town in the West in jeopardy. If I have to sacrifice the one for the many, then that's what I must do. My hands are tied. Dolores took a deep breath, explaining, people have a right to be free. I agree, but some of us are in too deep for that option to be a reality. Monroe is one of those men. If I had known sooner what his plans were, I could have prevented all this. But now, Cole paused, thinking about the possible courses of action he could take. Dolores finished his sentence. The plans are already in motion. Yup, I just needed to hear it from you, Cole confirmed. His mind was made up. What are you going to do? What I have to. Like I said, my hands are tied, Cole told her, exiting through the door. Chappie waited for him in the hallway. What's the plan, sir? He asked. I want you to take a team and put Ginger in custody. Do it discreetly, Cole directed. Chappie looked stunned, but he gathered his composure and replied, Yes, sir. Cole left the hum of the early morning activities in the club and headed towards a construction project where Monroe was commanding a team. The sounds of hammers and saws grew louder, and the smell of fresh-cut wood wafted through the air as he approached his friend. Put that board over there, Monroe directed, pointing to a doorway. Standing behind him, Cole commanded, Monroe, put the first private in charge and walk with me. You heard the man, Jessup. Take over, Monroe instructed with a curious look on his face. Yes, sir, Jessup replied. The two men walked towards the holding cells. What's going on, sir? Monroe asked pointedly. The sound of metal jingled as Cole took a pair of handcuffs from his pocket and handed them to Monroe. Put these on, Cole insisted. Monroe chuckled a little, asking, Handcuffs? Is this a joke, sir? Cole's face remained emotionless, and he explained, Unfortunately, it's not. What if I refuse? Monroe countered angrily. Then I'll have to call the guards over and make a scene, Cole told him bluntly. But sir, Monroe objected. Cole cut him off and told Monroe very sternly, Put on the cuffs, Monroe. Follow the order and do it now. Ginger, Monroe commented, thinking out loud. Put them on, Cole insisted. Yes, sir, Monroe acquiesced. The clicking of the cuffs let Cole know Monroe was following his order. Cole informed him, Ginger is already in custody. We're taking you two down to the Vegas camp tomorrow. How can you do this? Monroe wondered. Cole had never seen Monroe's eyes look so sad. His heart was breaking to make this decision, but he remained stoic and replied, I talked with Dolores. She confirmed your plans to leave. Angrily, Monroe snapped, Chappie told you, didn't he? Cole stopped walking for a minute, countering, Of course he did. Do you know what kind of position I would be in if you deserted us? I would lose my job, putting everyone in the Western region at risk. I can't let that happen. You forced my hand, Cole continued walking. Monroe stayed where he was, shouting, I should have never told that son of a bitch. Cole stomped back up to Monroe, snapping his response at him. No, Monroe, you should have never made the decision to leave. We are a team. We've always been a team. But now I'm going to be a father, Monroe explained. His eyes softened again. Wrong. Now you're going to be a refugee father. Enjoy your son because you won't be having another. I can't believe you would throw away everything. They continued walking to the holding cells. The room felt cold and empty, just like Cole's heart. As he opened the cell door, Cole told him, It is what it is. The cold steel of the cell door squeaked as Cole opened it. Monroe entered the cell. He already looked miserable. In the joy inside, the man seemed to die. For a minute, it sparked as Monroe asked, I can't share a cell with Ginger? Cole extinguished it quickly, telling him, No, we'll see you in the morning. Returning to his office, Cole didn't feel like mingling with anyone tonight. Jessup brought him a meal, and he sat at his desk, flipping through paperwork as he ate. When the meal was done and Jessup took his plate, he sat in his sitting area with a bottle and a pistol. He cleaned the gun during the first half of the bottle and pondered putting the pistol to his head during the second half of the bottle. Stumbling his way to his bed, he lay staring at the ceiling. Tears escaped from the corners of his eyes. He tried to close them and keep them away, but they kept coming. It was well into the morning before his mind quit swirling, and he finally fell asleep. Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 462, season 15, episode 56. Hey, Tim, what's up?
Hey, chin's up, y'all.
All right, man. I am just so stoked for prepper camp. I'm so pumped.
Oh, I saw our buddy Rick yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
And the word inside scoop is they are almost sold out.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening, they better, yesterday, they need to buy tickets. They better hurry up and get their tickets or else game on for 2025 because 2024 is about sold out.
To be done. Yeah. Oh, Jane said max 3 days left.
Yeah.
So my buddy that lives in Tennessee, I was like, dude, did you get your tickets? She's like, no, that'd be so awesome to go. I'm like, you better get on it today, like right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we got the camper uncovered. And
we were both sharing pictures of that.
Yeah. You were like, yeah, here we go. I'm like, yes, just did ours.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, getting her all ready. And all the books are coming in and everything. So I'm really excited. My good friend and yours, Mr. L. Douglas Hogan, otherwise known as TJ Swenson, reskinning all my books for me. So we're about halfway through right now. I won't have the new ones for prepper camp. It'll be the last time you can get your hands on the first edition books, because they will be gone after this time around. So yeah, they look beautiful. Go over to my website, check it out, changeingearthseries.com. I also got a bunch of new merchandise up there. I made some girl shirts, I'm so girly. I made some girl shirts. I did.
Yeah, that one on the far right.
Yeah, the one on the far right. Mm-hmm.
All the girls should wear that in town.
Yeah, and then I made the TJ shirt, the black shirts. Love the pain. So go check it out. We did some cool work. I'll be doing more with that stuff, and we're going to be expanding the membership program, making that all better. There's just a lot of things in the works right now. So it's fun. You guys are always along for the journey. And I just thank you for coming along on the journey. We're about to blast off again. So
I wore my Changing Earth ball cap to my CERT meeting. So showing the love.
Showing the love. I'm about to get the camo hats back again as well.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep, I'll have the camo hats again. Those ones are nice, embroidered, they're beautiful hats. So, yeah, check it out. A lot of new stuff going on. What else do we got? Oh, audio drama, of course. The audio drama episode 5 aired 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, episode 5 aired on Thursday. So if you haven't listened to parts 1 through 4 yet, get on it. 5 just launched. We'll do 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll take us right up to Prepper Camp. If you're a member, episode 6 is already up for you to check out. So go and have a look-see. They're turning out so good. Love it. Working on the next half. But, I can only do what my performers will give me lines for. So we should be good to go within this week and really launching off on that. Ellen is coming in September 11th. So we'll have her at the Hathaway Changing Her studio for a couple weeks before Prepper Camp.
Live and in person.
That's right. That'll be fun. So, lots of stuff going on. It's exciting. Exciting time. So we're finishing off Virgis. I don't know if we're going to finish it before Prepper Camp. I think we looked at it before. I think we're going to be darn close, especially being that, sorry about last week, guys. Stuff just comes up. And I really like the flooding compilation that I put together for you, though. Right? It was good. Ken, he's always a wealth of knowledge. And then we had Jaeger on there, and then the show that we did. What a great lineup for, preparing for the flood, what to do during the flood, and then after the flood. And that's a big problem right now we're going to talk about on our Changing Earth news. So, so great lineup. If you guys didn't catch the show last week, you should really go check it out. So in Virgis this week, Virgis arrests Monroe. That's the big news. Like his bestie.
Put those handcuffs on.
Put them on. Are you serious, sir? That's how we always read his voice when we're reading scripts. But, sir, are you serious? The intrepid commander getting arrested. So, we're coming into the end. This is like when you don't want to put down the book. But yeah, we're going to go through it. So it really got me thinking about handling disloyalty. Like, how do you handle disloyalty? We've all had friends in the past that, weren't so loyal, betrayed us in some way, hurt us somehow, right? And that can be a big problem. But more so with relationships, obviously, that's a huge problem. Like, especially romantic relationships, right? But also when you think about your group, your survival group, right? You don't want people to start being disloyal to your group. That can be big time problems in the future. So it's going to be really important to be able to notice signs of when that's happening with people and what that kind of looks like. So I try to stretch out all over to find some great info. And I got to tell you, I love episodes where I learn as much doing my research, to benefit my life as what I get to share with everybody. So excited about it. Betrayal. It's the worst one for me. Like, I just want people to be honest. I don't have any reason to lie myself. I'm a really honest person. So it's really frustrating when you get somebody who just lies all the time to just say what's ever going on in the room, So one of the big things that I learned was that you cannot be betrayed by somebody unless you actually care about them.
Yeah, I read that in the article that you sent over.
Right. Yeah, that was an interesting one.
That really says it all, though, right? It's like you can't be betrayed unless you had some kind of relationship.
Right. Because your enemy can't betray you. You already know they're your enemy. You never had trust in them. Right? So...
Damn you, Swenson, you betrayed me.
Yeah, you betrayed me. Well, you knew he was going to betray you. He's the bad guy, right?
What are you giving me that ice cream code for? I thought you were going to crack the whip.
And maybe that's why we get so pissed off at politicians. Because, we trusted in them. And they get up there and do something totally different. And we're like, what? What?
Yeah.
The F? So, obviously partners, close friends, that kind of thing. Even Jesus was betrayed by Judas, one of his closest 12.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a problem that resonates, happens a lot. It can actually cause PTSD, depression, anxiety, and massively decrease self-esteem. And you're like, oh, what kind of wuss is having PTSD from this? When you get really hurt by somebody, do you want to just jump into the next relationship?
No, you're gun shy.
Right. Yeah. You're like, man, I don't want to get hurt like that again. Which means I don't want to care again. And that's a problem.
Fill those walls up.
Yeah. Yes. The walls go high. So relationships are really important. We're social creatures. They help with stress reduction, and probably your relationship with that person might have really increased your self-esteem. So when they betray you, that's a direct hit, like a major loss to you, like almost like somebody dying, And then however intense that relationship is, it's going to affect the severity of that trauma. So if it's just like somebody at work that was like, maybe you knew them a little bit, not a big deal. But if it was like your brother, a close family member, something like that, it's going to hurt a lot worse to have that betrayal.
Yeah.
So most of us have been hurt in the past. Signs you have not healed. You have difficulty managing emotions. You could have physical pain. You have lack of trust in others. Substance abuse can be a sign that you haven't healed from past trauma. Attachment problems, and then detaching from reality. So there's stages of disloyalty, and this is one article that I really, really liked. I'm gonna share that one. I had it on the ready, but now I don't. So if you're over in the chat,
The last one.
yeah, the last one.
I'll see if I can pull it in for you.
Okay. So if you're over in the chat, Chen will put the link up over there. It was great article because it took it from a perspective of a group and it blended in the Christianity side of things. So stages of disloyalty. I didn't really like their first stage of disloyalty because it was like independent thinker, free spirit. Well, guess what? I'm all of those things. But if I'm loyal, there's nothing that's going to break that loyalty besides you, right? I mean, it's just how it is with me. So I think you can be a free thinker. I think you can have a difference of opinions with somebody without being disloyal to them. I don't think that is a sign of disloyalty. But offense. So people take offense to something that you said, right? That you did. They don't confront you about it. They just let it fester. So then they get into this offended mindset where they're bitter, they're hateful about things, right? And that's really the first stage of a major decline. So if you're working with a group, like a MAG group, or like the group you're working with, Chin, and you notice somebody that's getting a little like, put off, try to talk to them about it. Communication goes a long way. So you got to stop that first part and get down to the nitty gritty. Because after they have offense, they have passivity. So they tend to lose interest in what is going on in the group, start sitting in the back, position themselves away from, what's going on, the major area, or you in general. I've had a relationship with past coworkers that I could see once I learned these steps, I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that.
But you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Exactly. Like once you have those tools to be able to see it, you're like, oh, yeah, I can totally see that. Then they go into the critical stage. This is when they're like trying to magnify every single one of your flaws so that they can dwell on those negative, bad things and then tell other people about it to get more people on their side so they can feel better about themselves for the choice they're making to be disloyal to you. So that's when it's basically, you're growing apart, right? You're just growing apart at that point. One of my favorite sayings is, in all relationships, you're either growing together or you're growing apart. Every single relationship's that way. Okay, so how do you heal? Because it sucks. Like, it does. I've had people steal from me before. Just you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you hear somebody talking and they're just agreeing with whatever's going on in the conversation and you thought they were your friend. And that hurts. It hurts. So talk with someone you trust. You don't want to talk with somebody, though, who's going to be like the Gabby, like, drama person, right? Who's going to, like...
Yeah, the gossip queen.
Yeah. As soon as...
King,
yeah.
Whichever.
Whichever. As soon as they hear it, they're going to go tell 12 other people, right?
Yeah.
So... that's not going to do any good. So make it sure it's somebody you trust and they know, you're putting your confidence in them. You're putting your trust in them to do the right thing. Practice self-care. Betrayal can be really emotionally damaging. So it's important to eat well, not to just drown it in drugs or alcohol. Exercise. So you force yourself to feel more positive and engage in hobbies. Do something that you always wanted to do and give yourself congratulations for those little goals along the way. You're going to be okay. Acknowledge and accept. So the way someone behaves towards you is a reflection of their character, not yours. Too many leaders try to keep the Judas from hanging themselves instead of worrying about loyal followers. Like, how true is that in our society today? We're worried about small percentages of populations when we're totally ignoring the 98%. Right?
It's almost like an ad campaign right there.
Yeah. I was pretty blown away by that one. I was like, it's so true. We worry about like that one that's not really working out instead of focusing on the 11 followers we do have that are doing awesome and we have great relationships with. We like to dwell on the negative, right? So
that juicy gossip.
Yeah, we can spread around and keep going. If you know you're a good person, you were acting, you weren't the one who was disloyal. You did not stab them in the back. You did not do these things. They clearly did. Don't blame yourself, right? I mean, if you were always a true friend to that person and they decided that relationship wasn't worth it to them and they do something to wrong you, it's not your fault. Don't keep constantly analyzing yourself. Like, what could I have done different to make them like me?
That's a tough one too.
It is.
Especially friendships. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on them. There might have been nothing you could do. So we can't beat ourselves up because of that. We got to remember that, there's lots of fish in the sea. There's always going to be ones that like you and there's always going to be ones that don't. So, and unless you were acting like a total jerk off, which happens sometimes. So, and then that's when communication is important if the relationship's worth it to you. Remember, building and sustaining relationships is a learning process. Eventually, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't. And, I'm, 3/4 of the way through my life, and I can't even tell you that I have that nailed down. I think you got to learn every day. And, learning about relationships is just like working a muscle. You have to exercise that muscle or else your marriage will fall apart.
Relationship has little nuances that are different anyway. So,
right. Yeah.
You can't have the same thought process for every, identical for every person,
Absolutely. Now that's truth as well. So you've got to understand, give yourself permission to be like, oh, that one didn't work out. It's not a big deal, even though, you might have really enjoyed that friendship.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why we have to use the discernment of the Holy Spirit. So bull sharks are 1/2 the size of a great white, but it's responsible for most attacks. Things aren't always as they seem. Right? So, you might have thought, yeah, I really want to be friends with that person, and they were just looking to do you wrong from the beginning. So that's not your fault. You can't beat yourself up over that. You can't wonder what you could have done different because that was never their intention. And it sucks that people are that way, but that's just the way it is. You got to be patient with yourself. Right? I know I'm so hypercritical of myself. Everybody I trained with was like, "Man, you're the hardest instructor. You push us so hard, I'm like, "How hard do you think I push myself in my own head?" Much harder than I'm pushing you right now, So I understand that. I've got to be patient with myself, and everybody needs to give themselves a little leeway. Past failures serve as those guidelines, right? Pain can't be avoided, but understanding it can help maintain your spiritual readiness. So learning these things, these forgiveness things, way to spot it and calmly go through these emotions can really help you be a leader of a successful group in the future. Matthew 10:16 says, "I'm sending you out like sheep amongst wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves." So, you got a good mindset. You got everything going. Understand you're out there among a pack of wolves. So, it's not always going to work out, And maybe that was for the better. God had a reason for keeping you from that relationship. If you have...
And that was written how many years ago? And it still holds true today?
Yeah. Right? It's true. And we're so critical of ourselves. Oh, everybody needs to like me. No way. Everybody is not going to like you at all. Be you and grow with your people. Give yourself space from the person who betrayed you. So that can be tough if it's like a family member. That can be tough if you're in a survival group, But healing's hard, and it can be more difficult if that person who betrayed you is always around. So,
well, just put them in jail.
Yeah,
Cole's got it, right?
But lots of people are they follow him on social media after that, oh, look what he's doing now, blah, 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 blah. Or look what she's doing now, Don't worry about that. Worry about healing yourself. And move into a better place,
It's you only have so much energy, right?
Yeah.
And to use up energy chasing a negative trail doesn't really help your life.
Exactly. Okay, so that leads us right into practice forgiveness. It's easy to become suspicious and hard-hearted, but God wants us to see the best in everyone and walk with the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. So Ephesians 6:12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. That one's just on the point, right? The dark forces are going to use those people to try and keep us down, to try and keep us stifled, to try and keep us in our place. We have to just keep shining the light. And like you said, with that negative energy, that just stifles your light. You're not going to be the person you could be. So, living in...
It's so easy to fall into the negative. It's so easy to gossip. As opposed to look for positive things to pursue.
Right. Have clear communication with that individual you're having the issue with, and don't bring it out everywhere else. Yeah. Because that doesn't work. It turns into a mess. You're on Jerry Springer and stuff, looking like an idiot.
Those chairs start flying.
Yeah, because now you're just emotionally unhinged because you're not practicing any type of self-control. You're not thinking about forgiveness. You're thinking about retaliation. We're going to get up to that one. Don't live in fear of being emotionally hurt again, though. Like you say, they build the walls, and those walls will sabotage your future relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
and then you become lonely, and it morphs into victimhood. You know, everything. Oh, everyone did this to me. This happened to me, and everyone did this to me. You know, maybe, but it's up to you to get back up and put your bootstraps on and get back out in the world. And there's always going to be people that like you, and there's always going to be people that don't. It's just how it is. You know, Bible, in my opinion, is the best book in the world. Not everybody likes it. Not everybody reads it. So, your artwork, your self, your person, your voice is not going to be what everybody likes. There's always going to be people that like it and people that don't. It's just the way it is. Okay, so avoiding retaliation, so you may want to seek justice. It sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I'm going to really stick it to them, you know. But that negative, as hate in your heart, will destroy you too, and it just gets in the way of healthy relationships in the future. You know, you start dwelling on that, and it's not good. So keep in mind that God can take anything broken and use it for something good, and he even used Judas to accomplish his mission. So you just don't have the answers. Only God does, and you have to just trust in that and learn to forgive and forget a little bit more. So what do you do if you suspect disloyalty? We kind of talked about this all along, but confront the person. You're going to find out real quick how they feel, what's going on, but you got to just talk right with them. Try not to be like, so tough for me, right? Because I have so much like anxiety about the conversation, and then I'm kind of an aggressive person anyway. Right? So you've got to just try and not jump to conclusions and not be angry, and just be like, hey, this is kind of the facts of what's going on.
Yeah.
And
we've talked about this before, where you stick to the facts and don't get emotional. Don't let emotion rule the conversation.
Right. Like, this is how I felt. Well, it doesn't really matter how you felt. We need to know, like, what the circumstance was, and then what was the reaction to it, and was that appropriate for you to respond that way or not? I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Yep.
And a lot of times you learn. I mean, and you might not want to hear what you're hearing at the time when somebody's being honest with you. Right? There's a lot of things that are hard for me to hear. But when you take a moment and then you think about it, you rationalize things, you know, hey, maybe that's true. Maybe there's something, you know, and even if it's not all true, maybe I can incorporate some of that, you know, into our future dealings with each other kind of thing. At least you know where they're coming from. And then don't listen or spread rumors. Don't talk to somebody about what you heard, because, oh boy, telephone tag time, right? So that's just not where it's at.
It's not productive.
It's not. I really like that one today. I think is really important, because most of my listeners, PBN community, Changing Earth community, you know, you guys will be the leaders of tomorrow. Whenever anything goes down, you guys are the ones who have been educating yourselves. You guys are the ones who know how to help people. You guys are the ones who know how to organize people. You guys are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and people skills are going to be vastly important. You cannot defend your community if you can't even get along with your community.
But don't even wait for tomorrow. Really start today. Find ways to be a positive force in your community today.
Yeah. I mean,
I've seen that recently. Like, this year has really shown that to me.
Right.
And find out what your skills, what your gifts are, and put them to work.
That's important. Too many of us are just falling away from that, so we have to be there. We have to be engaged. I love that too. You're teaching a class at Prepper Camp, aren't you?
I know. Look at that.
Ha ha! Talk about stepping up in the world.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to go to the speakers meeting this year.
You have to come to the speakers
Well,
meeting.
I'll get yelled at for not attending.
Yep, you certainly would. I love it. Good, man. That's going to be cool. And it's a good combo. You're basically teaching a lot of what Rick came on and talked to us about a few weeks ago with the CERT groups and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it comms. I've been helping a lot in like my neighborhood and my community with communications, so I'll do a class in Meshtastic. That's what it's called, Meshtastic.
Meshtastic. I'll have to get over there and check that out. I've got classes I want to see because Doug's teaching a class this year, and so there's a few others too on the list that I didn't get to last year. That last year I didn't do any classes. I was teaching my anti-kidnapping class for the first time.
Yeah, and
that one, the devil definitely taps on your back during that one, and he's like, "Hey, are you sure you want to be doing this? Because this is emotional stuff, you know."
Stumble. Yeah, making you stumble.
Yep. So, so it was a little bit more challenging for me on that avenue, but this year I got it down a little bit more. I've taught the class outside of prepper camp a couple times this year. So, feeling good, and the good that it does is way over trumps the emotional, the emotions you have to go through teaching that class, you know, and then talking to people after and stuff. So, but really good info. So, yeah, so I'm going to be out classing it up this year, I think. I'm getting classy. Alrighty, guys, we'll check out, head on over to the website, check that out. You'll love the new skins over there, and then we'll keep you posted. All right, Changing Earth news. I'm ready to go. We got a lot of good stuff today, so let's roll with it. We're a little bit early.
When Sarah says good stuff, that's like, great.
Oh, we saw beautiful rainbows, and a unicorn flew by, farting glitter through the air. That was wonderful.
Who's kidnapped Sarah?
Here's our music.
Dream. Survive. Thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
All right, Changing Earth News. Sun's been having some big sunspots, but relatively unproductive. There's some biggies that are turning in our way right now. Friday, we had some mild geostorms just from planetary activity. The really interesting thing that's coming up is the gas giants are going to form into a square with, the gas giants.
It's like a reality TV show.
Hasn't happened since 79 AD when Mount Vesuvius erupted. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's October 22nd. They're forming into the square. Yeah. Swear. It's a square. Swear.
Celebrity square. X's get the O.
Right? Family. No, not family. Hollywood squares, right?
Hollywood squares.
Hollywood squares. Okay.
Oh, no, we're not going to Family Feud.
No, I know. We're next game is going to be Virgis's group against TJ's group, I think. I'm going to make Brock host it because he's a really good host. So, okay, squirrel. August 25th, 2024. I'm going back to the 25th. And honestly, I'm only going up to yesterday because I was supposed to go out fishing today. So I got all my research done yesterday. And I didn't see any big headlines this morning, so I could be totally wrong, though. August 25th, 24, 363 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.9 that came in and hit Tonga. Then they got hit by a 6.1. Then they got hit by a 5.3. mega energy. I should share it in the chat, but it's interesting to watch the day by day on the earthquake site, because you get to see like where they're moving about in the world, where the most amount of earthquakes are and whatnot, right? So I find that really interesting. And this week I did it kind of by day. So most activity was in Middle America, like right below Mexico, but above South America, Central Asia, Indonesia, Tonga, and New Zealand. So like you can literally see those areas like lighting up. Burp, burp, burp. And then the next day you can see where that is traveling to. So I'm going to share this in the chat because it's pretty darn interesting. If you guys are ever interested in tracking the earthquake movements. Hurricane Hone passes south of Hawaii. Big storm, came in as a Cat 1. So that was lots of rain for them. I mean, they are used to getting that kind of activity, but still that did some damage and some flooding. The Grand Canyon in Arizona, a hiker was swept away by flash flooding. One of them died. They had to rescue hundreds of people out of the Grand Canyon because of this activity, the flash flooding that happened there. So crazy stuff going on there. 26th of August, our earthquake activity was really still in Central America. Like Central America has just been getting hammered with earthquakes. They have their volcanoes erupting as well, but it's just day after day they're getting hammered. It really ignited into like the Mediterranean, Central Asia, Indonesia. It went all the way up to Japan and Russia, though, from Tonga all the way up. So that was interesting to see. 405 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.8 in the Indian Ocean. A 5.4 hit Lisbon, Portugal. That was a pretty big one. That shook them pretty darn hard. There's a 4.6 that hit the Dominican Republic. Bangladesh is experiencing absolutely devastational flooding right now. This is their normal monsoon times over there, but this rain that is coming in across Africa is literally turning the Sahara green. There's going to be a new grow zone over there. Sahara will be green again after the earth is done doing this change. So fantastic time to be alive, guys. We're going to see some stuff. 31 people dead from that. Thousands of people displaced. 1.24 million people affected by this flooding. They had massive destruction in France and Italy. 6-inch hail came down, just smashing through roofs, through car windows, destroying vehicles, that kind of thing. Just massive disaster over there. O'Neill, Nebraska, they also had a big hailstorm come in. Bolivia is having these huge wildfires, mostly around Santa Cruz, so they're evacuating people out of there. Lightning strike causes a 4,000-acre fire in Madison County, Texas. So big lightning came in, boom, wildfire. August 27th, more activity in Middle America, just lit up. But it also went to Western South America on that day. It went into Central Asia, Indonesia. It kind of went back down, settled out of Russia, settled out of Japan, down into New Zealand, Tonga. There was 335 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.9 in the Banda Sea near Indonesia. In Thailand, 22 people were killed in flash flooding. 30,000 homes affected by this flooding. Landslides. It was really not a good day in Thailand. Please send your prayers for them. In Sudan, an entire village was washed away when a dam collapsed. So they're getting so much rain, so much unusual amounts of precipitation. Just took the dam out, washed this whole town away. It's what really makes me concerned about the Fort Peck Dam up north. I mean, with the amount of rain numbers that we've been seeing, they're fracking near that thing. So we need to do something as America about that Fort Peck Dam. I know. Damn.
Frick.
Yeah. In Nigeria, severe flooding, 49 people dead, 41,000 people displaced. Melbourne, Melbourne, Australia, there was a massive windstorm, causes chaos. Southeast Michigan was also hit by severe winds. On August 28th of 24, there was 360 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.1 in the North Pacific Ocean near El Salvador. Again, Middle America just getting creamed. That activity spread out to the Caribbean. Central Asia was still getting really, really hit hard. And there was spotting really from Tonga all the way up to Russia along the Pacific coastline there. Fracking damn. Like, that just pulled my attention square away.
That just infested my mind.
It's in there. In Florida, there was a 4.3 earthquake just east of Lake Okeechobee, and New York had another earthquake.
Wow.
Right? And the Florida one was really part of that activity in the Caribbean, but there's also like some military stuff over there as well that they always talk about. 2 huge tornadoes hit the northern plains. We're talking North Dakota, South Dakota getting hit with tornadoes. 24 people missing in Yemen from flash flooding, cholera risks. You know, you got all this water, just garbage and defecation and all kinds of bad bacteria really running wild. This is one of 2 stories I have on this. Millions of fish, dead fish, washed up on the shores of Greece. Millions of them. So you know something went wrong there. Flooding in Xinjiang, China. That's their largest desert getting flooding. So this is like crazy stuff going on. Montana wildfire. They had a big wildfire. Over 200,000 acres burned there. Brazil wildfire near Sao Paulo. That's the same areas like Bolivia's fires are burning, really getting out of control. Those are big ones to, make world news. On the 29th of August, Middle America hit again, along with the Caribbean, Central Asia, Thailand. So Thailand just had all that flooding. Now they have these earthquakes. And we're talking Indonesia all the way up to Japan. We had activity going off. We had a 5.4 in Afghanistan was our biggest one. 382 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger. A series of several severe storms went through Minnesota, Wisconsin area with tornadoes. Actually shut down their state fair one night. The storms got so bad. Typhoon Shanshan hit Japan, spawning tornadoes there. But the amount of flooding they got after that is what we're going to be reporting on in the days to come. Tennessee National Guard was actually called out to battle a wildfire that was happening in the Smoky Mountains. And then on August 30th of 2024, southwestern North America, so we're talking SoCal, Arizona in there, we started lighting up with some earthquake activity. So it's slowly creeping up for Middle America. But Middle America just still getting just slaughtered with earthquake activity. Also went out in the Caribbean. Greenland got hit. Central Asia. And then again from Tonga all the way up to Russia. So we're just seeing so much activity along there. And after that 6-point hit Tonga, I mean, you'd expect to see that for a few days. There was 366 earthquakes on August 30th that were 2.0 or bigger. Biggest of which was a 6.0 that hit Kamchatka, Russia. So once we see an earthquake that big in Kamchatka, we're looking for activity over in Alaska. We're looking for that activity to feed down in the northern part of North America. So we should be seeing that in the days to come. I'd just keep eyes open if I was in that area, if I was you guys. Australia, there was a 6.7 earthquake in the Northern Territory, one of Australia's largest earthquakes ever recorded. So again, I'm going to get into the volcano numbers in just a minute, but it's been crazy week after week after week. And now we're having like these crazy, just super rare earthquakes, all just making headlines with all this flooding. There was 145 earthquakes in Nevada near the Long Valley Caldera, which is like right below Mammoth Mountain. It sits on the edge of the California-Nevada coastline. 145 earthquakes in 1 week near that super volcano, which could be way more devastational than Yellowstone, because Yellowstone vents so much. None of that vents. So can't be Flagray. Also, it's coming up. I'm just so excited. The cyclone that hit Pakistan, thousands of dead fish washing up on the shores of Pakistan. So what is going on? Is it because of the magnetic pole shift that these fish just aren't finding their way properly? I don't know. But that's 2 stories about millions and thousands of fish washing up on shorelines in 1 week. Severe flash flooding in Sudan. We talked about the dam already that blasted there. It just goes on. Virginia was hit by a hailstorm. Fuego volcano in Guatemala had a massive eruption. And then yesterday, August 31st, 355 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.1 in Indonesia. Middle America still lit up. Central Asia still lit up. And then Japan, Indonesia having the massive amounts of energy there. Campi Flagray, Italy, another large earthquake swarm. So we were eyes on that. And with the lineup of the gas giants coming on October 22nd, causing the earth to do weird things magnetically. I'm just saying, stay prepared as always. Karachi, India, under a cyclone alert, but it steered away. They're still getting a lot of rain. Severe flooding in Gujarat, India. Sorry if I slaughtered that and you're from India. That was 28 people dead just from they normally have their monsoonal rains right now, but they're just getting it on an unprecedented scale. So 28 people dead. The volcano in Iceland is still erupting. It is massively erupting. They still have Grindavik evacuated. Croatia is battling a wildfire near a popular tourist district. Tropical disturbance impacting Houston, Texas. And we're already having a very strange front kind of move across the United States. It's going to be cooling some areas down, hopefully us. But we're going to keep eyes on that because it's also bringing a lot of crazy weather with it on the front line of it. And then the Philippines is about to get hit again by another tropical storm, so they can't catch a break either over there. As far as volcanic eruptions go, we have 34 volcanoes actively erupting on our planet right now, 32 showing minor activity, and 24 showing unrest. So last time we reported the volcano numbers was 2 weeks ago. We're at the same amount of erupting, 34, which is, in all the years that I've been doing the Change in Earth news, still topping the charts, still the most I've ever seen. We didn't add any more volcanoes to our list, but one moved from unrest into minor activity, so it kicked it up a notch, right? And then the main whole of the volcanoes that are erupting are in Indonesia. Okay, as far as United States wildfires, sorry I can't do the world, but I just can't find those numbers, or I absolutely would. But in the United States of America, we're at a preparedness level of 4. We have 1 new fire on the board, 42 large ones, 1,671,310 acres on fire, and only 2 of those fires are contained. However, in years past, I've seen that 1 million number in just California alone. So we're actually doing really, really good this year as far as, total numbers for our wildfire activity. I think the most that we got up to so far was like 2 million. So, and that was like last week. So that's actually pretty decent wildfire numbers for the summer. There was also much less wildfires in Canada as well this year, even though we still heard stories about the smoke and stuff like that. Last year was really bad. Number 1 state for wildfires is Wyoming. They have 6 fires burning, 461,000 acres. 0 of those are contained. So California, not even in the top slot this year, which is really nice to see. They are in the number 2 slot. 3 fires currently burning for a total of 450,000 acres on fire. Oregon's in the number 12 spot, or the number 3 spot, with 12 fires actively burning, 338,000 acres. And then bringing on the 4th spot is Idaho, 15 fires, 204,000 acres, and one of those fires is contained. So, I mean, overall, that's pretty good news as far as the wildfires go. And if this weather front comes in and keeps hosing things off, it should look pretty good through the end of the year. They said we were going to have like a super bad hurricane season, and it might still produce itself. I mean, technically, we're still in the beginning of hurricane season. The hurricanes we did have came really early this year. And they were watching like 2 disturbances out in the Atlantic, so the news media says. But when I looked on Zoom Earth, they didn't look like they were shaping up to very much. So, of course, Zoom Earth is a great place if you want to go and see what's happening with all of the weather patterns. But cyclones and stuff like that as well. So, alrighty. So flooding is the story of flooding and the massive amounts of earthquakes and stuff going on. I really don't want to be a Nostradamus with my books, so. But there's a reason I picked earthquakes. Alrighty, well, that's all we got for you today. I'm tapped out on my Changing Earth news. I'm all worn out now.
Well, you ran through enough already, Sarah. I mean, we don't have to keep feeding your love of catastrophes.
I just want people to be ready. Look what's going on around the earth. They don't tell us about this on the news. You would never, ever know unless you get out there and hunt it down. And I'm here to do it for you.
Good thing you had the triple play of flooding episodes last week to help people prepare for this.
That's why I chose the flooding. I was like, we're going to get people ready because I don't like what I'm seeing as far as those numbers go. And man, that Fort Peck Dam, it's legit up there. Like, you guys got to check it out. They need to get that thing redone. All of the Mississippi Valley kind of depends on it. So I would, I don't know. They're not looking at infrastructure, wondering what they can fix. And we're just under the gun as far as these natural disasters go. So it's going to be really interesting. I don't think we're going to be able to be reactionary long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right, guys, head on over ChangingEarthSeries.com. Check out the new merchandise. Check out the new skins. They look beautiful. Give Doug a shout out on his show. Tell him thank you from Sarah. Always appreciate him. Hopefully, we're going to get to see you at Prepper Camp, and we're just going to get more and more jazzed up as the days tick by here. It's like waiting for Christmas. So, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Check out the merch, ChangingEarthSeries.com. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.